What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I'm just going to hop right into it. Let's discuss the current market situation for cryptocurrency, and then we'll also dedicate a portion of this video to new and exciting stuff that's happening on Bitcoin with ordinals and runes. There will be a bit my predictions and my opinions on the overall cryptocurrency market for the rest of this year, as well as where I think you might consider putting your money for the next, 6 to 12 months if you are interested in investing in cryptocurrency, and as well give you guys some information on the new rune stuff and why so many people are talking about it on the timeline. So right now the market is looking pretty darn good. I mean, Bitcoin's sitting at around $66,500 with Ethereum at around $3,200. And if you take a look at some of these charts, I mean, over the past month or so, we saw a dip all the way down to slightly below $60,000, where I think quite a few people took that as an opportunity to buy the dip. I do think there is a decent argument to be had that essentially Bitcoin is going to lead this rally for the next handful of months. I mean, we just had the Bitcoin halving, and I made a tweet recently that I think is some interesting data to show. And so something I want all of you guys to consider who are watching this video, investing in Bitcoin, investing in altcoins, investing in Ethereum, all of these different baskets that you can put your money into, is historical price action after the Bitcoin halving. And as most of you guys should know, the Bitcoin halving happened a couple days ago. And historically, what we have seen, and we'll go through the data right now. I made this tweet. If you don't follow me on Twitter, make sure to follow me on Twitter. The first halving happened when Bitcoin was at $12.35, and then a year later it went to $964 for a price gain of around 7,000%. So that's absolutely insane. And obviously, I do think there's an element of diminishing returns as the Bitcoin price continues to get higher and higher, because the higher the market cap gets, the more amount of money that is necessary for the price to move. There's only a limited amount of capital that our investors are willing to put into these assets. So you have to take that in consideration. The second halving started when Bitcoin's price was around $663, and then about a year later went to about $2,500. So that was about a 300% price gain over the year. And then the third halving, which is the last halving we have had after this one that just happened, Bitcoin's price was around $8,500 and then peaked at around $69,000 over the next several months with about a 700% price gain. And so historically, what we have seen is post Bitcoin halving, whether it's a year or a few months, the market is bullish. We have always talked about on this channel how the Bitcoin halving is used as a great narrative and a piece of kindling to start the market on its bullish trajectory. And the reason this market and, the current cycle feels so different is because this is the first time in Bitcoin's history that Bitcoin has hit an all-time high, which Bitcoin has hit a new all-time high, which I think was around $72,000, $73,000 before the halving has happened. So, I do think this cycle has been, in terms of price action, a little bit accelerated because of the Bitcoin spot ETF and all of those really exciting things happening in the market. But the data does show historically that, 6 to 12 months after the Bitcoin halving happens, there is usually some sort of repricing of Bitcoin because the overall supply, the overall amount of money that the miners can make on a monthly, yearly basis from mining and securing the network is cut in half. So, in order to make sure their profits stay equal or more, Bitcoin price essentially has to double, or, Bitcoin's price essentially has to double. So, there's going to be an element of supply shock here. There's going to be an element of macro market here and what's going to happen overall with the world and war and different geopolitical conflicts. But overall, the data does show that post Bitcoin halving, 6 to 12 months out, 6 to 12 months after the halving, price usually does go up. And so I think Bitcoin's going to have a fantastic year leading into the election and post Bitcoin halving. We've talked about all of those different catalysts for price action on this channel a bunch of times before, but I think we're finally starting to see a lot of that come to head. I do think, it pays as an investor in these very risky, volatile markets to understand that the macro of the entire world and the macro of, stocks and economies and where the US is at and where Europe is at and geopolitical stuff is at, I do think all of that to some degree has a decently large effect on the crypto markets. And so it is something we absolutely need to be paying attention to. And so if you peel back the layers a bit, the geopolitical tension in the world right now is pretty bad. And so we do have to consider that as an investor who is risk on in these assets, waiting for, Bitcoin to hit 100K and Ethereum to hit $5,000 or whatever we're waiting for. We do need to make sure that we have, our risk assets in a basket, a percentage of our portfolio. We have some cash sitting on the sidelines in case the market does tank, or, we have 6 to 12 months in a savings account. You don't want to be all in crypto ever. So you do need to be careful and just make sure that you are staying up to date with the current macroeconomics of the world. So my biggest position currently in crypto is Ethereum. Whether that is the proper move or not, I don't know. I'm betting on a potential Ethereum spot ETF approval. I also am just farming the Blast airdrop, which requires me to hold Ethereum. So there's quite a few reasons as to why I have a bunch of Ethereum. I don't have too many altcoins right now. I sold quite a bit of my altcoins and put them into, seed rounds and angel rounds, because I do think that is where a lot of money is going to be made. We're offering stuff like that into my private Discord. So if you are interested in getting those crazy early opportunities, then the link to my Discord is in the description below. Overall, the market is looking pretty bullish. So I would expect to see some volatility over the next 3 to 6 months as the market kind of prices in the Bitcoin halving and we kind of figure out where the geopolitical tension is going to head, and as we lead into the US presidential election. So buckle up, gents. I mean, this is what we're in this stuff for, right? Like, there's scalping trades to be made, but there's also a ton of reason to just hold your spot bags and have some conviction in your, plays and in your assets and in your beliefs as to why these assets might go up in the future. So that's my plan, holding my ETH, potentially looking to get a bigger position into Bitcoin. I hold some, but not a ton, just because, I am a little bit more risk on and looking to make, more X's than potential 2-3X, which I think Bitcoin could probably do if we have a great cycle, but not much more than that. Okay, so pivoting away from the broader cryptocurrency market, let's get a little bit more niche, a little bit more specific, and let's talk about ordinals and runes. And let's talk about what's happening on the Bitcoin ecosystem and give you guys some information and some potential ideas of where you could look to get some exposure. So I want to preface this with ordinals and runes are decently controversial in the Bitcoin ecosystem, just because, I think Bitcoin was not made with stuff like this in mind. And I do think when it comes to ordinals and runes, it is a little bit forced in the way that they're trying to find these different angles to use Bitcoin because it's the king of all chains and it's a store of value and it's digital gold. And, there's some element of like provenance in with this stuff and getting in early and finding the early things. And overall, it's just Bitcoin. So people really like the idea of holding a Bitcoin NFT or a Bitcoin meme coin or something like that. But I just want to preface this with, this is incredibly speculative. I wouldn't say it's more or less speculative than like buying a regular NFT on ETH or buying a regular meme coin on ETH. And I do think there is a room and a market for this to succeed in some way. And so I also do think it is important to note that when it comes to these different metas and when money bounces around between, ETH meme coins and Sol meme coins, Bitcoin meme coins and stuff like that is, it is for the most part degenerates and the degens in the cryptocurrency market looking to speculate and gamble on something new. So just keep that in mind as we talk about the different projects on this list. Okay, so the Bitcoin ordinal and the Bitcoin runes are fairly new and pretty exciting. I have a little bit of exposure in the Runestone collection and the Prometheans collection. And the Prometheans collection is from the CyberKongz team, and overall they have launched to a great success. I mean, Prometheans were airdropped for free to Kongz holders, and I believe they have gone up to, 0.08 Bitcoin, which is around $5,500 or so. So that is a big airdrop for holders. Congratulations to the team. It's a 21,000 supply, which is pretty big, but when it comes to these Bitcoin ordinals, the supply can or cannot matter, I think, as much as other chains. Just because right now there's so much volume and so much liquidity in certain projects for this specific ecosystem that, the total supply I don't think matters too much. Right now, the Prometheans, which is the CyberKongz ordinal collection, is currently sitting at around 0.06 Bitcoin, which is around $4,000. So full transparency, I hold one of these. I bought it around 0.02, so I'm currently up over 2 to 3x. What's cool about this is the CyberKongz team has been super active and I think did a pretty fair and great launch into this ecosystem to where I'm happy holding this bag just to get a little bit of exposure into the ordinal ecosystem. Would I recommend you buying for $4,000 into the Promethean ecosystem? Maybe not, but if you like CyberKongz and you think they're going to do something cool with this collection, like airdrops for these holders or, whatever else is going on in their ecosystem, then, this could be a play for you. The CyberKongz team did end up securing the number 2 rune on the Bitcoin blockchain, which is the ticker decentralized. And this is where things get a little bit convoluted and a little bit confusing, but runes and ordinals are different, in fact, to where, one could be seen as a NFT, a non-fungible token, and one could be seen more as a meme coin where it is fungible to that degree. So what we'll do now is we'll talk about the Runestone collection, which is also interesting because they also did a snapshot and an airdrop is coming very soon for these holders as well. So When it comes to the runestones, how this works is the supply is around 112,000 NFTs or ordinals. In order to get this airdrop, you needed to qualify and have a prerequisite of 3 ordinals in your wallet at the time of the snapshot. I held 3 ordinals at the time of the snapshot, so I was airdropped one of these tokens myself. And these ran all the way up to, I want to say like 0.08, maybe 0.1 Bitcoin, so around $5,000 to $6,000 to $7,000 or so per person who held those ordinals and qualified for the airdrop. So the runestone collection price got cut in half recently because of this. So there was a snapshot that got taken recently. The runestone snapshot for the Doge Go to the Moon rune airdrop just took place. Each holder will receive almost 1 million dog tokens per stone. Following the snapshot, the runestone floor dipped from 0.07 Bitcoin to 0.03. As you can see here, we have now bounced to about 0.035. So if you held this token, which you got airdropped for holding a certain amount of ordinals, you're now going to get airdropped the dog token, Dog Go to the Moon, which is a rune, which you can think of a rune as a Bitcoin meme coin. So if you hold the runestone at the time of the snapshot, you'll get about 1 million dog tokens, and people are speculating on the price of this. It's looking like right now during pre-markets, if you are a part of this, every runestone that you hold, it looks like you might receive anywhere from, $2,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 of dog tokens. So it's all going to depend on what dog tokens price launches at and what it climbs to or even declines to post snapshot. Something else to note when it comes to the runestones, and I think this is also why the price has rebounded a little bit, is the creator has said there's going to be multiple other airdrops in the future for these holders. So that's why there's 70 pending and people are looking to get into this collection as well, because for the most part, if this token does well, the other tokens that will get airdropped for these holders might also do well. So, it's just people speculating on the future airdrops now that the current airdrop snapshot is over. All right, so that's enough about ordinals. Let's talk about the runes and the rune launch that happened recently. So if ordinals on Bitcoin are NFTs, runes on Bitcoin, you can look to them as meme coins. And as you can see here, one of the main ones, and basically the only one I hold at the moment, is called Satoshi Nakamoto. And this rune launched on Gate.io on April 20th, and it ran all the way up to almost $10, and now is currently sitting at around 4.3. So this is one of the first runes, aka meme coins, to launch on the Bitcoin network, and is currently trading on Gate.io, which is a centralized exchange that is now supporting runes. And so what I like about this one specifically, it is a good ticker. Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin, it is one of the first runes to launch on the Bitcoin network. So it has those two narratives going for it. And look, whether this is a good buy at $4.30, I have absolutely no idea. I am just going to hold mine because just like I'm holding my runestone and just like I'm holding my Promethean, I just want a little bit of exposure to ordinals and runes on the Bitcoin network, because as an investor, I think having a little bit of a hedge towards these different assets versus having zero exposure at all and fading it all together is a mistake. So there's a lot of reason to potentially believe there's a narrative behind this to potentially send this to, some crazy evaluations, some crazy market cap predictions. But overall, there is a ton of runes minting, and it is super just pure speculation as to whether these coins will do well or not. So one of the main websites people are minting these runes on is Luminex, and they make it decently easy for you to kind of figure out how to do this stuff. But, this is where I minted Satoshi Nakamoto. There are others minting right now with X amount of transactions pending. The one thing you have to consider when it comes to runes and ordinals in the Bitcoin network is everything is super, super slow, and it kind of feels like you're taking a step backwards in terms of tech. And a lot of the tools and tooling around the ecosystem is just not mature enough to support a lot of this stuff and make it super user friendly. So for instance, if you had minted Satoshi Nakamoto and you sent your transaction through and then the Bitcoin fees on the network spiked, your transaction went through and your transaction failed, you would have lost all your money. There's no safeguard in place for any of that. And overall transactions can take, 10, 15, 20, 45 minutes to take place. I mean, I bought ordinals on secondary marketplace and didn't know if I got the NFT until 45 minutes later. So there's quite a few downsides to runes and ordinals, but I do think some of the positive narratives potentially outweigh those negatives, and hopefully some of the infrastructure that's being built around this stuff comes up fairly soon and ends up making the market pretty bullish. So one thing I am waiting for is Magic Eden, is a big marketplace for ordinals and ETH NFTs and Sol NFTs. They have managed to capture a large amount of the market share of that market, and they are also going to be supporting runes, aka Bitcoin meme coins, very soon, where I'm assuming it, like Gate.io, there will be a chart. They will have order flow, buy flow, sell flow, etc. That is something to look out for. I believe that is going to launch on April 23rd, which is probably going to be a day or two before this video launches. So just make sure that you are keeping an eye out for Magic Eden, and when they support that infrastructure, what happens to prices of certain runes. So I think overall there's a ton of opportunity in the space right now. And if you want to take advantage of a lot of that opportunity, I have had members in my Discord very recently get into some private rounds that are going to do insanely well. I think that is going to print some crazy returns for us. We've been having a lot of success on, Soul meme coins and Blast meme coins, and now runes, aka meme coins on Bitcoin. So if you are looking for a really, really solid Discord group to join and degen and get access to a bunch of really cool exclusive opportunities, then check out my private Discord in the description below, which I will provide a 15% off discount code for you guys today. But yeah, I think the market is looking up. Bitcoin's price is happy. Ethereum's price is back up. A lot of the altcoins that have bled out recently are now bouncing to a decent degree. And so I am particularly bullish on the rest of this year. Hopefully the geopolitical stuff allows us to, take advantage of the market for the rest of this year and early into next, and we will kind of see what happens. But I hope you guys had a great week, and I hope you guys have been taking advantage of the market as the opportunities come and go between airdrop farming, hanging out in Discords and getting access to early round opportunities and whitelist spots and holding spot coin. There's a ton of opportunity in the market, and I don't want you guys to miss out on that. So I hope you guys had a great week. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.